Good morning, everyone. This is your candidate, Norris, Tyrone, Darden for District 2. Let me go ahead and share our live broadcast over to the personal page. Okay, here we go. So we can get more people tuned in. Got it. All right, guys, we're going to get right into it. We're going to make this a quick agenda, but a very productive live talk. I've been hearing a lot of positive things in the community. People are calling these podcasts and they're saying, Mr. Darden, you're doing a very good job on the podcast. You're very informative. You're showing that you know a lot about the community and what's going on and what the needs are. And so I can appreciate that. Obviously, I don't know who's tuning in because a lot of people don't tune in live, but I would assume that people come back later and look at it. So that's a beautiful thing. Thank you guys for your input. Thank you guys for your input and your insight. All right, so let's go to the first thing. So I've been getting a lot of questions like, what are your priorities? What is your platform? What is your plan, Mr. Darden, as a candidate? And so again, I've shared my plan. It's the R3D2 plan. So there's 3 R's for D2 that we want to focus on. And that would be your cue to put the R3D2 on there. But the first R is rescue. The second R is recover. And the third R is revive. And so in that rescue, we want to, in the first 100 days in office, to rescue and relieve our community from the stress of COVID. So that covers a multitude of things. And for people that don't know, the city of San Antonio and the county of Bear have received billions, not millions, but billions of dollars for COVID aid. And we have to make sure that our community is connected to it. And so that is a plethora of things from PPE, PPP, food, vaccines, even to the point of housing, rental assistance. We don't want people getting evicted during this time. Yes, there's Tonga, R3D2. Thank you, thank you. And so that's rescue, that's recover, and that's revive. And so that's the first 100 days. The second R is recover. So once we kind of get out of that rut, we're back to being whole. We have to recover. And so we know there's a lot of opportunities in our district. We just passed a $154 million workforce development initiative called SA Ready to Work. We can't let 4 years go by and our community is not connected to those opportunities. They have workforce opportunities, stipends. You can earn your degrees, credentials. They have all type of things for you, and we have to be a part of that process. We know we have the Etsy here on the east side, kind of like the Wetsy, but the Etsy for the east side, and it's underutilized. And so we have to make sure that we're leveraging all of those resources that we have in the community with the resources that are coming to us. So that's one. We have pre-K for SA that was renewed for 8 years. We know there's a facility on Eisenhower, which is that far east or northeast part of the district. But, we have that far east, we have that northeast, and then we have that core east. And we have a lot of 4-year-olds that are eligible for that program that we want to be connected to that. So we're going to ensure that once we get things going, we're going to connect those nonprofits, those faith-based communities, and even some of our traditional and traditional ISDs and our charter schools to these opportunities. The goal isn't, we want to hone in on it on only one person or one group gets the resources. We want everybody to share those resources. And so that's going to be a part of it. Also, we had a bond in 2017. And what typically happens after 4 or 5 years, we try to introduce a new bond, but we have to close out the old bond. And so in that recovery piece, we want to make sure we recover all the funds that are due in District 2. And so what happens is if a project is under budget or doesn't happen, those funds are reprogrammed. Typically, the city council person has to advocate for those funds to stay in the district. We have to show that there's projects in the district, either an existing project in the bond that can use more funding or immediate need projects, infrastructure, whether it's streets, drainage, sidewalks, or even things in our park, uh, all things like that. So we're going to fight. We're going to fight. We're going to fight to keep those funds in the district. That's our recovery plan. And then the long-term plan is going to be our revive or revitalization plan. And so the easiest way I can illustrate what I mean by that is examples of Austin Highway and an example of Southeast Military. So for those who've been in San Antonio at least 20 years, and let's say even 40 years, I'm 41 years old, we know when we had Brooks City Base, well, it wasn't Brooks City Base, it was just Brooks Air Force Base. And when we had Kelly Air Force Base, the southeast side and the west side were flourishing because they had those civil service jobs. Well, those jobs went away through bracket alignment, first with Kelly and then with Brooks. And Brooks became the city base, but then even those opportunities kind of went away. And those communities kind of started deteriorating, dilapidating, and there needed some work. So what happened was, and I was able to be a part of observing this process. But what happened was the city, the state, and even the federal government, even the private sector came together. They came together and they revitalized that area. They closed Southeast Baptist on the east side, southeast side, and they opened up a brand new hospital over there. They got new shops, they got new apartments, new housing developments, and it's thriving over there. And so that portion of the city went through a revitalization time, and they rebranded themselves. That same thing can happen and should happen and will happen under our leadership for District 2. And so I'm thinking, why not connect Southeast Military to W.W. White? Because again, if you're from this community, if you're from San Antonio, you know those streets already are connected. And so imagine if the type of development, a hospital, all the amenities like the shops, the restaurants, all the new housing and things like that. Imagine if that traveled all the way up WWI, all the way to 410. It would be a beautiful thing. That's what our revitalization plan is. Another example, and I'm going to go on to my first topic, is this. Remember Alamo Heights. Remember Austin Highway. If you think down Alamo Heights, probably all the way up to maybe Eisenhower, that area was really, really, really dilapidated. You had your hourly hotels and motels. You had prostitution. You had drugs. You had a lot of buildings that were run down. Well, there was a revitalization plan. And again, it was the private sector. It was the city. It was the state. It was the federal government. Everybody kind of came in together and pooled resources and made those areas better. The McNay got an overhaul. I remember used to be a gas station on that corner. My mom used to take, I call her mama, let me not say mom, but my mama used to take us to the McNay Art Museum, me and my siblings and I, to take pictures. It was a Exxon right there on the corner, or a Chevron Exxon, one of those. And so you have to go around and get there. It's not there anymore. They beautified the entire area all the way up past that Walmart, maybe up to that gas station. You have Lowe's and everything right there. But why couldn't we continue that all the way to 410? And so it's not that bad in that area, but it can use a lot of support. And so those are examples of how we've revitalized areas and brought areas back to life, and how our third R, revive, what it could look like here in District 2 for our communities. And again, remember, District 2 is bigger than the East Side, but we need to have a focus on the East Side. We need to have a focus on the Northeast side, and we also need to have a focus on that far east as well. So those are the plans that we have for the district. I know a lot of people are asking, what is the plan? What is the plan? What is the plan? Those are the plans. So let's get to the first question. Many people know I'm a youth advocate. I've been a teacher for 18 years. I've been an educator for 18 years. And I have a master's degree in education. I, focus in special education, working with, students with special needs, disabilities, and things like that. But I have a heart for the youth. And so that's how I got involved in the civic process, civic engagement, and in politics in general. And so for me, we have to have a plan for our youth. They're our most valuable resource. And if we don't invest in them, we're really setting ourselves up for failure. So what is the plan for youth? Number one, they need to have a voice. So working with, again, coalition building, working with our schools, working with our nonprofits, working with our faith-based community, and working with our social groups. We have groups like the Links, Jack and Jill, We have so many groups out there, so many organizations. NAACP that has a youth a portion of the organization. We need to start working with those groups and kind of get those juices flowing, those young people. With that being said, we need to listen to what they're saying and what they want and develop a comprehensive plan to help them year round on an annual basis. So what would that look like? That would look like working with, in District 2, working with our school board trustee, Alicia Perry. And not even just Alicia Perry. We also have James Howard, who is still active in the community, who could bring a lot to the table. What would that look like? That would look like, because people don't know this, but although Wagner is not in the city, Sunrise is. And Sunrise is in District 2, and a lot of those students go to Wagner. And so working with Wagner, working with SA Prep, working with George Gervin Academy, in the Northeast Independent School District. Roosevelt is in our district. We have Ed White in our district. So working with those different entities, those different school board members, those principals, and linking up and leveraging all of our resources to figure out what can we do to make a very robust out of school time program to complement the in school time program for our children in our communities. And so that takes time, it takes effort, but number one, it takes listening to our youth. So we have to ensure that we're dealing with the entities that help our youth on a daily basis, and it goes beyond the school, but it also comes to having a plan. And so the comprehensive plan would be this. During the summertime, we need to have opportunities for our youth. Spring break. Everybody is not going on a trip to Corpus or wherever. Some kids are just at home, needing things to do. Me personally, my mother worked 2 to 3 jobs at a time, so we never took trips. It would have been great if we had some opportunities during out of school time, and we did. We had Upward Bound during other times of the year. We had different STEM programs, robotic programs that was going on. We had the Eastside Boys and Girls Club, but those were those silos of excellence. There wasn't a comprehensive program within the district that everyone had the opportunity to be connected to. So that's what we're looking for. So with that being said, what is out of school time? Anytime you're not in the regular 7:30 to 3:30, 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock with school, right? When kids are not with their teachers, with their principals, with the lunch ladies, with the custodians, that's the out of school time. That's the out of school time. So after school, on the weekends, summer, spring break, Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, having opportunities for young people. But what are they going to be doing? There's a plethora of things they're going to do, but things that I've learned over the years, listening to our youth, are things like this. Financial literacy. These young people want to know about money. They want to know how money works. They want to know how to get it. They want to know when they get it, what can they do with it. They want to know how can they make more and more, and how can they keep it. So financial literacy is one. Post-secondary education. Post-secondary education isn't just college, guys. Everybody's not going to college. Some people are going to a junior college. Some people are going to a 4-year college. Some people are going to a trade and vocational school. And some people are even out of high school, starting their own businesses. So in that comprehensive plan with fiscal financial literacy, as well as workforce development, as far as post-secondary education, we have to expose them to all these different opportunities. That not only means go visit colleges, but also go visit the pipe fitters and plumbers place over in what is this place called? Willowwood. They have a group in there in that community that has it. So going over there, or going over to St. Philip's, but not the St. Philip's over on the east side, but over in Port San Antonio, that has a lot of different trade opportunities, but exposing them to those things. I can remember, and I'm going to send a shout out to the owners of Wing It, and kind of hearing their story years ago. They were in college at TSU, I believe, and it was a project that they had to kind of start a business, and they started a food truck, and they kept it going. And now you have Wing It, you have Zip It, I think they have Clean It. And so, exposing young people to those things early. So financial literacy, post-secondary education, workforce development. You have to have those skills. So you have to understand an application, a resume, a job interview, professional etiquette, being prompt, being on time when you get there, the do's and don'ts. So all these different things should be taught, not on the job, not when you turn 18, not when you're trying to get a job at 16 at Whataburger or wherever you're trying to get a job at. These should be things in our community that we're supporting, that we're investing in for our young people. So we've talked about financial literacy. We've talked about post-secondary readiness. We've talked about workforce development, service learning projects. So when I was growing up, when we talked about community service, that meant you got a ticket for speeding, or you got in trouble at school, and then you got to go do community service. You got to put on a vest and go out and pick trash up off the highway. We don't want to engage our young people on a level to where the positive things they can be doing come across as negative things. And so we want to introduce service learning projects. You're providing a service in the community, and you're partnering with other people, other like-minded people. And you may be going to Grandma Joe's house and putting a fresh coat of paint on her house, or you may be going to Uncle Bob's house and cleaning out some debris out of his yard, or you might be going to a lot and building a community garden, doing those service learning projects, partnering with the Ella Austins, the San Antonio Fighting Backs of the world, partnering with all these different new agencies that we have popping up in the nonprofit sector. Those service learning projects are key for buy-in and investing in our community. Young people don't have a lot of money. They can't buy homes and property, but what they can do is take down graffiti. What they can do is beautify the neighborhood and have pride in it and say, this is ours. And look, guys, that's what we did over there. That's a project that we did. And so just going over them real quick. Financial literacy, post-secondary education, workforce development, in addition to the interviews and the resumes, things like that, actually putting them on the job 20 to 30 hours a week, earning a stipend, and learning the do's and don'ts of employment and professionalism, but also compensating them for that. And then the service learning projects. And there's so many other things that are engulfed in that. We can look at the STREAM part of it, science, technology. We can't forget about reading, engineering, and math. And there's so many other things that we can apply to that comprehensive plan, but we have to have a plan. That's the point. And again, everything is not going to be on the backs of the city, and everything's not going to be on the backs of the taxpayers. What we're going to do is we're going to utilize all our resources, the private sector, the public sector, and guess what? We're going to invest as well in ourselves. There's so many nonprofits that come to me and say, hey, Mr. Darden, we want to help. We want to pitch in. Not Councilman Darden, Mr. Darden. We want to pitch in. And guess what? There's no outlets for it. There's so many individuals that say, hey, I was block walking and I saw Miss Susan Henry over in Denver Heights. She said, Mr. Darden, every year I do meals for the indigent. I do meals for the homeless and the houseless. And with COVID, it's been hard. Let's do it. Let's partner. Let's get it done. Guys, we got to start pouring and investing in ourselves, as well as leveraging what we do for ourselves and holding everyone else's feet to the fire. We got Coca-Cola in the community. We got HEB in the community. We got Spurs Sports Entertainment in the community. We got all these different entities. I can go on and on and on. And they want to help. They just don't know how. So we got to provide those opportunities. And with this initiative for our youth, a comprehensive year-round out-of-school time program that complements the in-school program from all levels and from all walks, including SEISD, NEISD, JISD, East Central Independent School District. I didn't leave you guys out because that Lakeside 4070, 4077, I know you guys are in our district and you're in the East Central Independent School District, but leveraging all those relationships through the District 2 office and getting things done for our people, utilizing our community centers, our libraries, our nonprofit buildings, our city buildings, and making it happen. But that's the deal for that. Ultimately, it has to be about coalition building and a collaborative network that Shamika's talking about, but we have to start working together. So hopefully there's a clear distinction on what the plans are for the youth, what the vision is, and ultimately how we're going to work together. But that's just the beginning, because again, number one, what is the first thing I said? I'm going to listen. We have to provide the youth with a voice. So I'm going to listen. So there's some things that I know I've missed. There's some things that I know that I'm not thinking about. I'm 41. I have a 20-year-old, I have an 11-year-old, I have a 9-year-old, and 8-year-old. And there may be some things that they don't want to do that I have no clue about. But listen, we got to start listening to our youth. It's no time. We have no time to waste. And just in regards to college readiness, we know everybody's not going to college. But again, if we have year-round programs that have youth engaged, and then we talk about the other elements of it, like the STEAM and the STREAM, and for those who are not familiar with that, like STEM, the old STEM, like when we were growing up, science, technology, engineering, and math, where they've added the R, which is reading. We have to be literate. And the arts, which I didn't say earlier, and the arts are just not the traditional, painting and things like that, but liberal arts. You have, liberal arts and fine arts, but you have all these other aspects of the arts that we need to include. If we're doing those things on a year-round basis, SAT, ACT, ASVAB for those who want to go to the military, and they keep changing the names of these tests to get into like our junior colleges and things like that. But the names of those tests I can't think of right now. We're going to be ready. We're not going to need to study for them, because you're not really supposed to be studying for them. They're aptitude tests and placement tests. But we'll be ready because our young people will be exposed to all these different things. They'll be well-rounded. They'll be well-versed. And so it just be, turnkey. They can get right to it. All right. So money, 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 money. These campaigns need more money, more money, more money. And so I'm doing a Team Darden Telethon. Mr. King, I forgot to thank you last time. I saw that you donated. I appreciate that. You down there in Florida, living your best life on your retirement. If you know any Floridians down there or anybody down here in San Antonio that might want to support this campaign and contribute, tell them, hey, I know this great guy. He was my principal for a short time down in San Antonio, but I think he has a lot of great ideas for the community, and you should sow a seed in this campaign, $20. I would really appreciate that, Mr. King. And so what I just said to Mr. King, that's for everybody, guys. If you really believe in this campaign, if you believe in the things that we're saying, if you believe that the first 100 days, the first 2 years, and over 8 years, we can get all these things done together, collaboratively, then guess what? Invest in this campaign, invest in the candidate, and donate. And so www.teamdardensa.com, push that donate button, and $20. We're trying to get 1,000 donations, and every $20 counts as a donation. I think right now we have 5 or 6 already, and so that means we have 995 or 94 to go. And guess what? You got to start with 1, and we've already eclipsed that. So let's keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. So, I'm not the money person. I don't like talking about money, but we got to do it, because campaigns run off love, they run off passion, they run off hard work, they run off effort, but they also need to run off money too. And so thank you all for those who've contributed. Thank you for those who've contributed in other ways that weren't monetary. And thank you guys that will. I appreciate you. And so just a reminder, on Saturday, I'm going to have my community block walk. Email me, text me, call me for more information. It may get on the screen as well. Thank you for that. And we're going to be block walking this weekend, this Saturday, from 11 to 2 o'clock. The neighborhoods are going to be in that far east area, that Ritterman railroad tracks area, before you get the FM 78 and Foster Road. So just go ahead and hit me up if you want to block walk or phone bank. We're going to be doing both, and we'll get you that information. And then finally, and we'll do this today. I don't know if anybody's on right now, but if you want to talk to me, like right now on live, let us know, and we'll send you a link and we'll get you on. But in the future, if you want to be on a Darden Live Talk, just email us, teamdardensa@gmail.com. If you text me, I'm just going to send it to the email so it won't get lost in my text messages. But just let me know, and we'll get you on, and we can talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. And it could be something you disagree with me about. And we can have a candid conversation on how we can work together, even though we agree to disagree, but how can we find a win-win? And those are the things that I want to really, really look at. Finally, and I haven't talked to my team about this, but as we get closer to the to early voting, I want to start with something called the Darden Live Talk hot seats, to where anybody can ask me any question, and we're going to take up to 20 questions. This is going to be in a couple weeks. We're going to take up to 20 questions. You can ask me anything. Tyrone, why did you drop that baton in the state meet in 1997? I got to answer it. You asked me. Whatever question you asked me, I got it. Tyrone, you scored all those touchdowns in high school, but in that playoff game, you dropped that ball. I got to answer it. Ask me anything. And so I want to be the transparent candidate. I want to be the candidate that you guys can trust. I want to be the candidate that you can depend on. And so I want to open up that hot seat. And I'll probably open it up on the 20th. When we talk about when we talk about the Darden 20 for 20 telethon, I'll probably open up on that day. Early voting starts the day before, and we'll just go from there. But up to 20 questions for your candidate on the hot seat. So get ready for the hot seat. All right, we're winding down now. One thing I do want to talk about is why I am your candidate, why I am the candidate you should vote for and support. This right here, this graphic, is what we call the TRIV experience. So there's a lot of great candidates. Actually, all 12 of the candidates bring something to the table. But for me, this is an illustration of what I bring to the table as your candidate. I'm born and raised here. All 41 years I've been here in this district. This has been my home. As a professional, the 18 years that I've come home from college since 2003, I've been in this district. That's Davis Middle School, that's Sam Houston High School, and that's George Gervin Academy. Never left. My children, my 4 children, have always been educated in this district. That's from Davis Middle School, George Gervin Academy, Sam Houston High School, Roosevelt High School, Cameron Elementary. I can go on and on. SA Prep. I can go on and on. All 4 of my kids have always been in this district. And I'm proud of that. I'm a board member. I'm a board member for the Alamo City Black Chamber of Commerce in this district that we're housed. I'm the board chair for Beat AIDS. We're in this district, right across from Wheatley, is our newly empowerment women's center. So for me, that experience is there. I've always been a person to give. I've written grants for people in this district for free. And I've done that over the last 12 years. And so just my experience, my commitment, I believe that puts me above and beyond the other candidates. But again, it's up to you guys. And like the word says, many are called, but few are chosen. In this one, only one can be chosen. And my prayer is that person can be me. So like David has a heart after God's own heart, I have a heart after District 2's own heart. And so with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Norris Tyrone Darden, your candidate for City Council District 2 for our Thursday live talk. Be blessed and thank y'all.